Welcome to the Jeremy and Andy Talk Movies podcast. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Andy.
Nailed the intro that
Nailed
time. So we are back to talk about another new release movie. A movie that certainly had one of the better previews, I think, of the year, just because it's a premise that lends itself to a really good preview.
Yep.
That is the movie Drop.
Mm-hmm.
So Drop is a thriller, I guess you would call it.
It's a thriller, yeah.
About a lady who is on a first date, a man that she met on a dating app and has been talking to for a while, and they finally meet, and she begins getting drops to her phone that are very menacing, kind of threatening, and then she finds out that says, check your home cameras, there's a killer in her house, and it starts sending her messages of, this is what I need you to do, don't tell anybody, act normal.
Yeah, in the house with her small child.
Yes, and then I need you to kill your date.
Yeah.
That is the premise of the movie Drop.
Genius premise, honestly.
Yes.
So, it's one of those movies where you're like, they've got me just on the premise. Now they've got to deliver a good movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, like I said, it's one of the better previews in large part because it's very easy to explain in previews.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and
you get it.
You get the idea. And so then your hope is, I hope it like you said, it pays off and they can actually stretch it into an enjoyable 90-minute movie, basically. 95-minute movie.
Yeah, hour and 35, isn't it? Yeah.
So, Andy, what'd you think of Drop?
Loved it.
Okay.
I had a blast with this movie. I thought it was the finished product matched the premise to me. I thought it was just a great marriage of, just a really good idea and just a well done movie. And the two leads, the man and the woman who are on the date, they were up for it because it is them in this restaurant for almost the entire movie. And I love this movie. I thought it was great. I was so entertained by this movie.
I really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah.
I think that there was definitely moments where I felt the premise stretched.
You're like, come on,
a little too far.
Oh, I agree with that. I'm not saying it's perfect.
It's certainly,
I mean, that guy would have dipped like 20 minutes into this date.
It's a movie that I say, like, it's a great preview movie. Like, it's a premise that you describe out and you're like, that'd be great. And then it is very challenging to say, and now let's get an hour and a half out of it. That said, I'm with you. It was fun. They did a good job of keeping you with them and keeping you invested in the story.
Yep.
And I enjoyed everything about it. I'm going to go ahead and throw out a spoiler alert because my biggest problem with the movie is just the last 5 to 10 minutes, whatever. Once things are done at the restaurant, I didn't love what happened after that, and it just kind of stinks because that left a taste in my mouth. I was like, I was so with it for so long, and I just disliked that end part so much.
Fair enough, and that's a fair criticism. I will say, to me, I thought the smartest thing they did, though, they wrapped that up real quick.
They did.
They leave that restaurant. She leaves the restaurant. I mean, probably already in the spoilers, and it's like they don't beat around the bush, really. She gets home really quick and
incredibly quick.
Look, if you're gonna watch this movie and nip, you know what I mean. Like, if you're one of these people that's like, well, I'm from Chicago and I know she could not. Don't do that because this movie is. I do think it takes itself seriously. Yeah, it's not just like we're just bending all the rules, but you've got to.
For sure. I mean, like, that was the one where it was like, they're just doing it a bit too much. I mean, she's literally seeing the guy is going for her son on her security cameras while she's at the restaurant. And somehow she gets to her house in time to stop him.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, I don't.
You know what, though? I think when a movie has been effective for the first, 80%, I'm willing to let some things go.
Yeah. Since we're already just there doing the spoilers at the end.
Yeah, we just dove right in.
The guy takes his mask off, and I could tell that it was like a reveal. And I was like, I don't know what this guy is. I don't care.
Was it a reveal?
And then I realized after,
was he at the restaurant at some point?
No, he was the guy checking the meter at the beginning. And I was like, that's what it was. Because I remember clocking that when it happened, going, he's going to end up being a guy. But then I forgot about it.
That went right over my head.
So much of the movie went by.
Yeah.
And I say that, I'm only 70% sure because that's
you're probably right because she does have a look.
She has
on
a look
her
like,
face.
I saw you before. Yeah, but I was like, same thing. I was like, you showed me this guy through a window or doorway for a second.
In the first 5 minutes of the movie,
and now you want me to remember that. And
yeah,
but yeah. So I did kind of chuckle to myself when they showed it. It was
That reveal fell
the reveal
flat.
moment. And I was like, I don't know what you're
I don't
doing
know.
for me here.
Yeah.
And then the boy riding is like I could see like all the
You know what though? At least we're jumping so far ahead, but it's like at least that was set up at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, it
Because
was.
he drove that little car in and it had a note for his mom. So it wasn't just like, okay, so this kid all of a sudden just drives this car. Like, at least they tried to make it make a little sense.
They did. And it was one of those things where like when I watch it, I go, I get exactly what the filmmaker was thinking and why they pulled it in this way. I didn't end up liking it, but it's fine, like that part.
Yeah.
Now, yes, we started this podcast.
We came
totally
out hot.
backwards.
We did.
But it's because I wanted to get that out of the way so I could say that's why like I think I walked out of it going like it's good but not great.
Yeah.
But I want to get back to now. I think while they're at the restaurant, I was much more with it.
Yeah.
And so now I'm going to be in the positive. I didn't want to
Let's
be
get our,
really
we're getting
positive
our negative
and
out of
then-
the way.
and then in the podcast negative.
Yeah.
I want to get that out of the way because it was 80% of a really good movie.
Yeah. And I always figure in these movies like this, it's going to get ridiculous at some point.
Yeah.
And you just have to decide how willing you are to be along for the ride.
Yeah. While we're starting at the end and going backwards, I'm just going to continue that trend of working my way backwards. Reed Diamond, who plays the villain in the movie, who starts off playing the super awkward guy, and it turns out he's the villain. I loved it. I thought he was chewing the scenery in just a fantastic way.
If you're going to be a villain in a movie like this, yeah, you don't have to be Daniel Day-Lewis, taking it so serious. Like, chew it up, man. Like, just be the bad guy. Yeah. And he just switches he does such a good job. Like, when she first meets him, like, we're so far into spoilers. He's like the bumbling oaf almost. And, oh, gee whiz, I'm on this date. And then the way he's just like, sit down. Yeah. You're like, okay.
But then, yeah, he
and then he just turns into like Michael Myers.
But then he
just like, he stabs that one waitress in the back and he's just off the rails.
Yeah. But even in between there, when he's he's jovial. That's the only word I can think of it. Like, he's talking to her. He's telling her, like, hey, this is what's going on. This is the plot. You just have to take the fall. Like, so
he
goes, just so matter of fact
lost
about
the
it.
second you walked into this restaurant and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, it's really interesting. He is the villain of this movie. He does not have a lot of screen time. So when he does have that scene where the reveal and him, like, he has to make you hate him in like 5 minutes. And he does a really good job.
He does.
Yeah.
It was maybe a 5-minute scene, and I was like, this scene could go on for 30 minutes,
and
I would be with it.
And him and her together were fantastic. And I have a hot take for you about her here in a little bit.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
So that reveal was
awesome.
Was awesome.
Yeah.
I thought the resolution was a nice little twist. The way she gets back at him. I know we're kind of in spoilers, but I'm just gonna leave that. I'm not gonna say. I mean,
I won't either. But I love that in a movie when the slimy villain gets outsmarted.
He does, especially because he has that line of like,
he's so smug.
I'm playing chess and you're playing Yahtzee.
You're not even playing checkers. You're playing Yahtzee, and then
she does.
It's really well done.
Exactly. So I really enjoyed that. You've got the misdirect, the guy that it wants you to think it is, and they do such a good job that I went back and forth 3 or 4 times going like, it's too obvious no.
Yeah.
And then like, well, maybe it just is. No, it's too obvious no. Well, maybe it just is until it wasn't.
They do a great job in this movie. I love when a movie like this comes out and it's like, if you're making this movie, look, this is not going to win Oscars. This is not going to be anybody's favorite movie of all time, but you still take it seriously, and they do such a good job of, like, first of all, it's a great setting. This restaurant high up, just overlooking. That's great. And the restaurant just lends itself to, like, could be this person, could be this person. That introduces, like, the waitress at the bar, and you're like, she could have something. Like, they do such a good job of, like, they're, like the poster says everyone's a suspect.
Yeah.
They really are. And they really lean into that just in the right way, I thought.
Yeah. I had a question for you that I just realized I don't remember if they had resolution for it. I mean, like, I kind of assume what happened, but did the bad guy say in the conversation, because there's the conversation about the table and the insistence of the hostess of like, no, you called and requested this table specifically. And I thought, well, it's going to come out that the villain made that call and set it up. But I don't know if he
I don't,
ever
think you,
said
I don't
that.
know if you ever do, if you're just supposed to assume he
Yeah,
did.
so I think
because
we
he
just assume.
tells her like this like where I'm sitting is the perfect table
Yes.
to keep an eye on you.
Right.
So I don't know if maybe it did. Because I mean, this is also a movie where like there is a lot going on. So I missed that. I didn't even connect the meter guy and the end thing. So yeah.
Yeah. Trying to figure out where to go now since we
I
started
know
so,
we just
so
came
backwards.
out just babbling.
So let's go really out of order. Let's go all the way back to the beginning now.
Okay.
So the beginning, I was pleasantly surprised with how quickly they kept that moving because you see almost all of the setup in the previews.
If
the
you're
scene
going
of
to
the
this movie,
sister
you
coming
already
over,
know.
the discussion about her outfits,
You
the
know all
uncomfortableness,
that.
and because it's in the preview like that, I was like, okay, we're gonna have to sit through the awkward get to know the character design. But
They just breeze
it
right
was
through that.
Basically, just the stuff that was in the preview,
Yeah.
and then it kept moving. I was like, great, we didn't spend.
No, I bet you I didn't clock it, but I bet you at the 10-minute mark, she's probably in that restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was nice that
I appreciated
it got
that.
to it a lot faster than I expected.
Right. Because like you said, or like we're saying, if you go to this movie, you know what it's about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I knew it was like an hour and 35-minute movie. My thought was, well, there's only so long they're going to be able to draw out this premise, so there's going to have to be a lot longer build up. So I was surprised how quickly they got into it.
I was so glad they stayed in that restaurant for as long as they did.
Yeah.
I thought they just made some smart decisions in this movie. Yeah.
Yeah. They did a lot of. Okay, so I guess I said we're going to go back to the beginning. The guy who plays the main guy, whose name I never remember, Brandon Sklenar. I don't know how you. But anyways, all I know him from is the TV show 1923.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a look and a presence about him.
He does.
He just kind of seems like a manly, take charge kind of guy.
He does, yeah.
I don't know. And like,
no, he does.
There's something about him where like he's on the date. You almost feel like, oh, good thing he's there. He'll have a way of like figuring it out. And when he does the like 50 feet radius thing and walks around, you're like,
love this guy.
This is just, he is the guy that would figure these things out.
And he has to pull that off. And even in this ridiculous movie, he has to have like a sweetness almost, because it really, like, my one complaint is like it really stretches how willing he would be to still be on this date.
This guy,
he is very patient.
Very patient. He is
like he catches her in like 4 lies, and he's still like, you know what? I'm committed to this date.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of the nice way to say this. Dude really wants some affection from her.
There
we'll
you
put
go.
It that way.
There you go.
I had to laugh at the scene where she says, why'd you comment on my profile or whatever, and he has that nice speech about her, like everybody else projecting what they want to be, and you were the first one that seemed like genuine and real and blah blah. And I was like, and just say it. I also think you're really hot, which is the main reason why I'm still here. Dude. If you weren't this hot, I would be out of here.
I would be gone. Yeah. This would be such a funny, like, someone could make a YouTube edit of, like, or they do that thing of, like, this movie could have ended in 5 minutes. Yeah. Like, the first couple times she's being weird, she comes back and he's just gone.
Yeah.
And then she gets a text like, everyone you love is dead because this guy just left.
I'll be honest, if I was him on that date, it wouldn't have even had anything to do with her. The first time the waiter came up and started talking, I'd be like, let's go somewhere else. Like, I can't.
I'll go to McDonald's before I sit here and listen to this waiter.
This guy whose improv bit is about being a hat on Allison Janney's head who's afraid of heights.
It was kind of funny, though. And like, it was so stupid. Yeah.
No, I get what you're saying. Like, it's one of those things I could laugh about a little bit later, thinking like
in the moment you're kind of like,
you're watching.
I hope this guy is not in very much of this movie,
and that's sort of the point. He's supposed to be like super obnoxious.
But you know what? There was a second in my mind where I was like, it's the waiter.
Yeah,
he's like all of a sudden he's gonna just be like, I will kill you. Like I thought he was just gonna turn.
Well, they do some great little things to misdirect you. So he says like, it's my first day, and you're like, why would he? The killer would have just put himself in this place.
I think it's a smart screenplay.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to do things. I mean, the one thing it has to do that's a little less realistic is the killer has to be basically omniscient. And, they do it through, we see your phone and we have cameras on you. But because there's got to be constant moments of the audience is going to say, well, why doesn't she just do this? And every time she does start to think to do that,
I wouldn't do that
if I was the counter, so you don't have to be stuck there as an audience member going, well, why don't you just do this.
And I think you just summed up that's one of the biggest reasons why I like this movie so much. I love when they can come up with a clever premise, but it still feels like it's playing by some rules. And it's like you said, the bad guy, he's not just like dude, how is he doing this? Like, yes, of course it's stretched a little bit and you have to be willing to accept certain things, but like it does feel like it's following at least somewhat realistic rules. And I always appreciate that. And like you said, it solves the problem of like, why doesn't she just do this? Like, because when you watch movies like that, that's when you get frustrated, or I do. And then that's when it's easy for me to just dismiss the movie. Go, well, this person's a moron. So there was 8 things that she could have done that she didn't do. And in this movie, she tries to do them.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there's still slip-ups, small things, but you understand them. I mean, even just something as simple as the limes issue, where she tells the waitress she doesn't want limes. And then to get him to go away, she says, "Oh, I forgot limes." So he goes over there, and the waitress or the bartender lady's like, "Oh, she changed her mind." And it's one of those things that sets him off. Yeah, and you're like, "Oh, that should have been avoidable." But like, it's not that big a surprise somebody makes that mistake. You've got a lot bigger things that you're worried about. So like, I'm not mad at the movie and saying like, "Oh, dumb person I'm following." It's just mistakes are going to be made like that.
And honestly, that's probably the best compliment you can pay this movie is it comes up with this big premise and you don't walk away mad at the movie. That's a high compliment for a movie like this that is literally completely dependent on the premise.
Yeah.
And for me to go, you know what? I kind of buy everything that happened in this movie.
Yeah. I'll also say that from the preview, I mean, the kill your date is the thing that the person tells her from the preview.
Right.
And my thought was, well, that's, interesting. It's just somebody, in my mind, it's almost like a Jigsaw from Saw type scenario. Like, I want to see what you're willing to do to save your son. Like, I picked you at random and I'm just cruel. But it actually is more story than that. It's that he is a photographer, a political photographer for the mayor, and found some things that are incriminating. And the whole plot is we need you to take him out because we can't have it coming back to us.
Yeah. Like it's way too obvious if it's us. Yeah.
And maybe a little bit of plot convenience for the conspirators that she is somebody who was thought to have murdered her ex-husband, who was abusive.
Of course.
But it does make sense. They go like, hey, you have this history. No one's going to think twice about you now have done this a second time.
Yep. Yeah. It's ridiculous, but in the right way, I guess. Like you have to take some leaps and stuff, but you go, you know what though? They clearly did put some time and thought and effort into this. Because one thing I complain about a lot, especially, is like I hate it when a movie just has the premise. And it's like, but like I said, this like with like Y2K or something. It's like, okay, you thought of this premise. What if Y2K happens and it goes terribly bad? But then you forgot to make a good movie afterwards. So this finally, it's like a movie where it's like you thought of a good premise and then you carried it out. So kudos to you.
Yeah. Because we've jumped around so much, now I'm like, shoot, I don't know what all we've missed.
I know, right?
I do want to shout out that obviously they've gone to this restaurant that looks beautiful and it's supposed to be very nice. Really nice looking food.
Yeah.
And when they bring up plates of food, I was like, it wasn't even so much that I was like hungry. Sometimes I'm watching movies and I'm just hungry. Yeah. It wasn't that. But they showed the food and I was like, man, maybe I should go to a nice steakhouse after this.
Right.
They put those plates of food in front of them. And I thought, it looks really good.
It does.
Even her duck salad, which I don't eat salad, but the duck, I don't know, and it's not even the point of the scene. The scene is there's the bill that she sent.
That was really cool too, by the way.
But I just got to get all I can think of, that duck looks really good.
Yeah. I did love that when that bill was back in the plate, underneath the food. I thought that was like, man, like they're doing such a good job. You don't even know who the villain is at this point. It's like, man, this stupid villain is so ahead of her, and I just want her to get a win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everyone did a good job in this movie. I thought the two leads we've talked about a little bit. I thought they were both really good. Megan Fahey, I pretty much only knew her from season 2 of The White Lotus.
Yeah.
And I was looking at her IMDb. She's been in a lot of like shows and stuff. This is basically like her first really starring movie role, and good for her. Like
I think she's incredible in this movie. My hot take is that I think it's crazy that movies like this. I'm not saying she should get an Oscar nomination, okay? But I hate it. I guess this isn't even a hot take because I've said this before. I hate it that it's just not even an option.
Yeah.
She literally she has to carry this movie. And when she stops and there's this moment where in the midst of everything that's going on, they stop and actually have a real like she has to spend a lot of the movie being fake to this guy and lying to this guy against her will. But she has a moment where she has a real moment where she's talking. She's like, I'm not a good mom.
Yeah.
Here's what I did in the midst of this abuse. And it's like, she's nailing this in the middle of this, like PG-13 thriller about getting airdrops to you. She is delivering this really heavy monologue about abuse and what she did or didn't do, and she's killing it. And it drives me nuts that like inevitably when the end of the year rolls around, someone will get a Best Actress nomination because it was some boring, snooty, nose up in the air movie. And it just drives me nuts that stuff like this just doesn't get a consideration at all.
You're right.
She's incredible.
You know what awards do give consideration to performances like this? The Jeremy and Andy Talk Movies Awards.
Well, I can tell you, she's on my leading list for a Best Actress nomination because she, like I said, she is literally carrying this movie on her back.
Yeah, it was a good performance.
It's a great performance, in my opinion.
And like I said, I really liked the actor.
I did too. Thought he was really good. And I was thinking, like, it had to be so hard to be him in this, like, to be this part where it's like you like this girl, you really don't understand what's going on. You have to be patient. You have to be all these things.
Well, and the audience has to like you and not feel like you're a loser because you stayed.
Right.
And yeah,
like he's
really
kind of got a lot to do.
Act,
yeah.
There's one casting I didn't like in the movie.
Oh,
the son.
Little kids.
This is gonna sound super mean. Was he supposed to be like a special needs son?
I think I was like, is he supposed to be like autistic?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they talked about like
Was he?
She's like, don't forget you have to do this and this. Yeah.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it just, I don't know.
I don't know either. And I don't mean this to sound mean either, but it's like, I did think it was a really smart move. You never cut to the point of view from in the house when she's at the restaurant.
Yeah.
So it's like, you don't even set the kid actor up to fail.
Yeah.
Because you just don't give him a whole lot to do.
Yeah.
And that's a smart decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Sorry, kid. You were the part of the movie.
I know. Somewhere this kid's gonna listen to our podcast and be like, "Oh,
yeah,
they didn't like me."
Sorry, bud.
Yeah, it was whatever, but I thought it was really smart just to minimize that role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have a quick rant about my movie watching experience though. Because I did this just a week ago?
I think it was last week.
Or maybe 2 weeks ago. I can't remember, where I went off about theater etiquette and behavior. Yeah. So first off, I've had some issues lately with people not respecting the halo. Yeah. Right? Bought my seat, clear halo around me, get to the movie, people sitting like right behind me or right in front of me. Yeah. And just annoys me. When you look down, their entire row is clear. And you're like, you really felt like you needed to pick the seat directly in front of or directly behind me. Yeah. And you could have picked any other one. And, but anyways, this was maybe the worst audience I've ever had in the theater. There were loud people throughout the whole movie. Yeah. There was one group of younger people up behind me that were talking the whole time. Yeah. There was somebody who, with their straw in their drink, kept moving the straw and like,
that's a terrible noise like, anyway.
And then I could hear like the giggling about it, and I was like, I almost expected to turn around. They had their phone out and they're doing like a TikTok video of like the annoying cup challenge or something. And can you annoy audiences? Someone dropped their phone at one point really loud right behind me, and they're like laughing, and then they have to like retrieve it. It was so bad. Like there was literally a point where I was like, I'm about ready to walk out of this movie and buy a ticket for the next showing and say I'm just gonna finish it then because I can't handle this theater. Like it's so obnoxious. People on their phones, everything that people could do. And the worst part is that, like I said, it was so consistent. Usually, even in the most obnoxious audiences, when things get to like the critical points of movies,
they know to stop. They know,
and like people kind of lock in, and it just never happened. We walked I was walking out of the theater, and there's a couple guys walking out behind me, and they were a little older than me, probably, the great hair and stuff. And one guy said to the other, not even like a mean, he just said, man, it's like, I don't think young people know how to act in public. Yeah. And I was thinking, I'm thinking the same thing, guy. Like, it was very bad.
Unfortunately, same thing for me. I went to this, and I would guess like 17 to 20-year-olds, a big group of them came in, and they were terrible the whole time. loud, obnoxious. They thought they were so funny, but only they thought they were funny. And when I left, they were down, and I kind of had to walk past them. And I just wanted to look at them and say, this is exactly why people my age don't like people your age.
Yeah. I know. I was thinking, like, it's one of those things where I don't say anything, and in part because I know I'll end up saying in an overreaction, but I want to turn around and be like, you narcissist.
Yeah.
You really think it doesn't matter that everybody else has to listen to you while you're talking this whole time?
Yeah.
We all came to watch a movie, not hear you.
Not hear you. You're not funny. Like, I heard some of the things you guys were laughing at because you're so loud. It's not funny. You're not funny. Like, yeah, it was bad.
I will say there was a guy just sitting down the row from me who was very loud with his snacks when the movie first started. I mean, just like, shh, just like so loud. And to his credit, he got his snacks done within the first 5 minutes and was done. He was quiet the rest of the movie. Yeah. But later in the movie, there was people being loud, and I'm kind of looking back. I could see him kind of look back like, are you kidding me? And I almost said to him, dude, you don't get to. Like,
don't do that.
You were also obnoxiously loud guy earlier.
Yeah.
But
it's a real bummer.
It made me think, like, I almost feel like I can't go to movies on weekends or maybe opening weekends. Like, it made me long for the days of going midweek and being the only person in the theater and being like, this is the peace and quiet, and I can just focus on the movie.
I know it's a bummer, but
I don't know. I'll try to focus on the positive that people are going to the theater and seeing movies, and
This was I don't know. I just had a ton of fun with this movie. I guess to me it was like this. You see the preview. I saw the preview at like 6 movies I've seen this year. And then you go see it and you're like, yeah, this is exactly what I wanted this movie to be.
Yeah.
Really no more and no less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I tell you something that really surprises me? Rotten Tomatoes score for the
people
critics,
like this movie.
83%.
Yeah.
It's just the type of movie, like, even if I enjoy it, I don't expect to go see a good critic score.
Yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes. They did. They liked it. So,
you know what? I hope this shows that, like, moviegoers want a well-written, well-thought-out movie. And that doesn't mean you have to sacrifice entertainment. You can make these thrillers, and you can make a movie that's, cell phone oriented and stuff, and it doesn't mean you have to dumb it down. And that's, again, going back to something like a Y2K or something, when I was like, this is the stupidest movie I've ever seen. I don't mean like that I'm above that material. I don't care if your movie is ridiculous and about all this stuff, but it doesn't mean you have to dumb it down so much. Like, that's why I like this movie so much. It's like, you can have an entertaining, even mildly silly premise, and you take it seriously as a writer or a director, and I'm all in, and hopefully other people are too.
Yeah, we obviously don't have a problem with a silly premise. We both really loved a movie last year that's about a vampire ballerina.
Yeah. And that's Abigail's a great example where it's like, you can have a movie about a vampire ballerina, and I'll be all in as long as it's a good, well-written, well-acted movie. And Drop is the same type of thing.
Yeah.
Also, I just want to point out, when you do the gimmick where, like, the texts are just coming up on the screen, when it's done well in a good movie, that's really effective.
It is.
And it saved it's saved from having to have that camera shot every time of, like, here's what it says. I really liked how they did that in this movie.
I did too. This movie had an $11 million budget, from what I could tell.
Yeah,
kind of looking at a
same
couple
as
different.
what I saw.
Do you have any idea how it's done?
So
this
it
weekend?
made $7 million.
Okay,
which is not an amazing start, but with it getting the positive reviews and stuff, and it had a good critics and audience score.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping it'll end up making, I'm hoping it'd be like a $25-30 million movie. And I also was reading where it was like it still hasn't opened in a lot of foreign markets and stuff. So I think it'll be a modest hit, which makes me happy.
Yeah, I could see it being so. Again, as much as the crowd annoyed me, the crowd was a diverse crowd at the movie theater, and that's what you
want,
what you need for a movie to be successful is for the different quadrants to all be interested in that movie.
So I hope it's a movie that finds an audience and keeps an audience, and even if they're annoying, if young people are going to see it, I hope they're enjoying it and telling like their other friend groups like, hey, go check out Drop. It's a lot of fun.
For sure.
Yeah. And kudos, I just want to say real quick, Christopher, is it London or Landon, who directed this? He has done other stuff, but he's done the 2 Happy Death Day movies, and then he did the Vince Vaughn movie Freaky with Catherine Newton. When he kind of does these, like, they're not outright horror movies. This is like teenage, like young adult horror movies, basically, or young adult thrillers. He's really got a good handle on that genre. Because I really like both the Happy Death Day movies, and I really liked Freaky, and I really like this.
Yeah.
So when he's in this world, he does a really good job with it. So kudos to him. And he does some cool stuff in this movie where like when she thinks it's someone, the lights will dim and like a light just shines on that person. Or when she's getting ready to have that monologue about how she didn't do what she should have done to protect her son, everything just goes dark and it's just her staring out that window. Like he's got some good like creative flares in this movie.
He does. And the moment, which again is a little bit ruined in the preview, but the moment where the glass breaks and it
That
sucks
looks
the guy
great.
out and she flies out, like it is a good, well shot
Really done for
sequence
for an $11 million movie. And then she's like when she's first getting these messages, she goes into the restroom and she's distraught and stuff, and she's sitting in a stall and she's scrolling through all of her home like security.
Oh, yeah.
And they pop up like on the panels of the stall she's in. I was like, okay, I like that. That's really cool.
That was cool.
Yeah, he uses the technology and stuff in a really good, smart way, I thought.
Yeah. We've already said the restaurant looks great. I did have the thought of like, I wonder, I can't imagine that this was an actual restaurant location. I imagine it's a set design.
Yeah.
Whoever designed it, like kudos to them.
Kudos to them.
Even just the little walkway and the little tunnel.
It looked really
very,
cool.
Very cinematic.
It looked really cool.
Yeah. All right. So next week, the big release is Sinners. It's one we're both looking forward to.
Looking forward to it.
Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan, reunited. And, vampires in a southern...
Like Louisiana or I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know what time, like 40s maybe.
It's hard to tell. It doesn't, I mean, 30s, you get an idea,
40s,
but it doesn't tell you. Yeah.
It looks like it's its own thing.
Very unique.
And so
Michael B. Jordan's playing twins.
Yeah. I'm excited to see that one.
I am too.
So we'll be talking about that next week. Maybe even throw in another movie. You're still planning on checking out The Amateur.
I am.
And so we'll have some new reviews coming at you
love
next
all
week.
all the new stuff we're getting to do this year.
Yeah, and it just kind of it looks like it's going to keep going for a while.
Yeah, because then we really kick into like Thunderbolts, and eventually we're going to get to Mission Impossible and Fantastic Fours down the road. F1. I saw another F1 trailer. At one of these movies. So
yeah,
a lot of good stuff.
And I'm looking forward to that movie Friendship.
Yeah.
Which I think is just another really funny concept. It's like the way that people struggle with connections and friendship today. What if we made it like a horror movie about just having friends?
Yeah.
Horror comedy.
Yep.
Yeah.
A lot of good stuff, it seems like.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
And
but
go check out Drop. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get this, like we were saying with Warfare, like you probably don't want to get like popcorn and snacks. This is the exact kind of movie you want to have your popcorn and your snacks with.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So thank you for joining us for this discussion of Drop.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time.